We're here live at the Freedom Truth Radio Show. We're glad to have you. Thank you for listening. Those of you that are tuning in, we're live. I'm reposting this from Hamilton Radio Live tonight because we seem to have had some audio problems when I was going live from my page. So those of you who are wanting to watch and listen, I'm sharing it live on my page, and also my guest is sharing it live on her page, Dr. Simone Smith Brown. I have online with me. This is the Freedom Truth Radio Show, where the truth will make you mad first and then make you free. We're so glad to have you on tonight. And tonight we're talking to a very special doctor that I began to follow last year. A friend of mine introduced me to her through Facebook. She is a psychologist, and she has a very peculiar and significant practice, type of practice, where she delves into the mind and the emotions, and getting people to think more objectively. And she calls it the symmetrical self. And we're going to get into that a little bit and get her to talk about her approach to psychology and some of the other things that she uses, tools that she uses to help people get in tune with themselves. And, you know, psychology is the study of the mind. And we all need help with thinking better, because this society and this world, there's so many negative influences that can trigger bad mentalities, bad thinking. And we want to get rid of that. So we have Dr. Simone Smith Brown online with us tonight. And I really appreciate her calling in and being a part of the show, because she's a little bit under the weather, as I am myself. I think this change of the weather and back and forth being warm, and then the rain and the dampness, and it's affecting everybody. So I appreciate her being on in the midst of her being a bit under the weather. So I'm going to try to make the interview as seamless as possible. Dr. Simone, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Good. Good evening to you. And I'm glad you're on. I hope you have your cup of tea so you can feel a little bit better.
No, I'm so teed out right now. I'm just so over it. So over it. I have like the worst headache and the chest
goodness.
and all that. It's crazy. You're right. It's the weather. It's hot,
it's
and then
crazy.
It's cold, and you know you're dressing differently. You don't want to be too hot. You don't want to be too cold.
No.
Next thing you know, you're sick.
Yeah, you're dressing for the weather, and then that's playing tricks on you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mother Nature needs to get it together. Yeah. She needs to come see me about her symmetrical self, because she's really asymmetrical right now. She's messing everything up.
Yeah, she's missing some stuff, right?
Really.
Yeah. So, how long have you been in the practice of psychology?
Well, I got my PhD in 2015, and I just became a permitted psychologist, which means that I have to work with a supervisor in order to gain the rest of the hours in order to get a license in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
But I am also a certified life coach, which is where your symmetrical self comes in.
Okay.
At first, I wanted to become a medical doctor, but
wow.
I can't deal with bones and blood. Like if someone comes in with like a broken arm, they're just gonna have a broken arm. Like I can't fix it. I can't look at those things. I can't do it. And then I wanted to become a veterinarian, but I love animals so much, and like if I had a dog or a cat that didn't make it, I just wouldn't be able to do it. So my next thing was I like the study of the mind, and actually I like the brain. And my favorite part of the brain is the limbic system, which deals with perception, arousal, your nervous systems and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I did a paper on that, and when I was getting my master's. That's another story.
Okay.
But I decided that instead of dealing with the blood and the guts and the death, I'll deal with the mind and the brain and why people do what they do. And it was funny. I got into it to kind of understand myself at first, because life throws a series of curveballs at you.
Yes.
And one of these curveballs almost took me out, and I figured, why not go to school and try to figure out myself? And then in the process, I realized that I was led to that because in the long run, and with all of the issues and problems that situations that I was going through, I was supposed to go through those things because I was supposed to become a beacon to other people, so I'm able to understand where they are and why they feel the way they feel, and what triggers what thing. And it's fascinating, and it's also rewarding to pick people up out of the darkness and let them know that there is another way. So that's where psychology came from for me.
That's amazing. And I like the way you put it, just that you actually became a product of your own product, because so many people are, they're in the practice because of the money or because, the profession they, think is stability or whatever, but you actually got into it to do some self-discovery, and in turn you're able to help people through your own experiences. That's just really good.
I was also told, I'm always told though, you're never going to make a lot of money in this, because I'm always that person who's for free. Somebody is, I need to talk to you. There are like families of people who follow me.
Okay.
And they'll reach out to me, and I just, instead of the money aspect, I'm always like, oh my gosh, what can I do? Can I help you? And I'll spend hours upon hours talking to people across the world. I've spoken to people in different countries: Dubai, Pakistan, London, South America, Canada. They're all over. And if it was really just about the money for me, I'd be rich by now. But
of course,
I spend most of my time I know how it is to be in the dark. I know how it is to be hurt. I know how it is to feel like you have no one. And I never, ever, ever want anyone to feel that way. And I believe that if, God blesses you, you should bless others. And, money doesn't really come into my mind when I'm doing that. It's the person. And people say, it's easy to speak to you because I see that you care. You didn't ask me for money. You made time out of your busy schedule, taking care of whatever you need to take care of, to talk to somebody you don't even know. And to me, that gives me joy. It's payment to me.
Yeah. Wow.
To do that.
Do you often find the people that you help? Do you see reflections of yourself with some of the problems you've encountered in life?
Yes. And I think, like, I would tell a lot of people who know my story, they say that it should be a book within itself. All of the molestation by different people, getting ready to commit suicide myself, being called ugly, and, every issue, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, all those things. I think that I was supposed to go through all of those things because I am supposed to be able to identify with the people who I am led to reach and to speak to and to touch. It's different if I was just going to say, come into my office and let me take a pad and pencil down and say, that's what you're going through, or maybe you should just go ahead and, do this and that and the other. I don't even use pads when I speak to people because it's more of a we're going to build reciprocity. I'm going to let you know that I am attuned to everything that you're saying, and I'm going to let you know that I care and that I have been there. Now, it's kind of like, you can't expect to reach someone who feels as if the world is closing in on them if you really haven't felt that yourself. It's kind of like, well, I can kind of understand what you're saying, but if you have never had those feelings of darkness and those feelings of the world would be better without me, then, you can give help. Yes, you can help, but it's different layers to the help, and I feel that being able to feel what they feel, sometimes I'm able to tell clients and patients who see me what they're thinking in their mind. And they're like, well, how do you know that that's exactly what I'm feeling? And, it's because I've been there. And it's because I'm able to just pick up on it. Because I really give of myself. I believe that I'm here for that purpose. So if you're doing something that you love and you're doing something that is your purpose, then it's really never work.
That's right. That's very true. There's a scripture in the good book that says your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. And that's a true statement because I watch a lot of your Facebook lives and the things that you talk about, the subject matter, and it just flows. Like it doesn't look like you've had any kind of pre-planned notes or anything like that. So whatever you're passionate about for the moment, it just kind of comes out and it flows, and you know, I see people responding to you like you're helping somebody out there.
Yeah, that's where I get the joy and the payment from. And, you know, there are times where, and you're right, it isn't something that's rehearsed.
Right.
I say a lot of the time, there are times where I won't put a video out for a few days.
Sure.
And it's not because I don't want to. It's because the Spirit was not given to me for me to give a message. But as soon as the message does come, I know it's time for me to give that message out and to reach someone. And every single time I do it, people say, how did you know that I needed that? It was because the message was given to me to give out.
Right.
And I feel that if I was to sit there and, you know, I see a lot of great people doing Facebook Lives, and it's scripted, and they have the video edited.
Yeah,
and
I know.
all great, and it's wonderful. I just can't do that. It just comes when it comes, and it comes how it comes. And I think that, you know, that's, not to say that they're not authentic, but that's part of my authenticity. I don't think that, you know, my last video I said it's not about me, it's about the message. I don't have to be pretty. I don't have to put on this makeup. But right now, I was told to park my car in this parking lot and tell somebody this, and you have to hear it, you know, and if you share it, someone else is going to hear it, and they're going to be blessed by the message as well. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for none of that stuff. I just say, listen. Just listen and be a blessing to somebody else.
Well, you know, the law of reciprocity is always working, even though sometimes it may feel as though it's being silent or that it's on hold, but it comes when you need it. So keep doing what you're doing, keep putting that word out there, keep helping the people you're helping, because it's definitely going to return to you. That's definitely that's the law at work. You know, it has to return to you. And so, you know, I definitely want to say be encouraged in your efforts. And I know sometimes it seems as though it may seem a little futile, where you're putting all this word out, putting all these messages out, and people are it's like they're only absorbing and receiving, and you're not getting anything back to replenish, because the one that's giving needs to be replenished sometime. But, you know, keep doing it, because it's definitely going to come back to you.
Well, Facebook is kind of making it hard these days, because there's a lot of I'll put it this way, I did not know that my presence really makes a few women on Facebook upset, and in different groups and in different, you know, when they see it, they like to report it. I got off of Facebook jail on February 15th and got right back on Facebook jail
for
February 15th because I was trying to help a friend out. I put up a post of myself, and I said, when God has you covered, and it was a picture.
Okay.
And then somebody in a group didn't like it, so they banned me. And then when I was off February 15th, a friend of mine who sings in Maryland, he's a wonderful, great, wonderful singer.
Okay.
I said, I'll promote this. So I promoted it into a women's group that's based out of Maryland.
Sure.
3 minutes later, I was put back on Facebook jail. So I put a post up, and someone said, it's probably the same woman that was in our group talking about getting you off. And then he showed me the picture, and I said, I don't even know this lady. So Facebook is making it so I can't tag people in my videos, so that I can't share my videos. And, you know, I think they're making it so certain people in certain, you know, places they can't see the video, and it's all because, you know, of, you know, the people out there who are upset at whatever they're upset about. But if the word is meant to get out, it will get out.
It's going to get out.
Definitely. If, you know, and now I'm seeing that there are, and I'm kind of nervous about it, there are a lot of friend requests that I'm almost at the 5,000 limit, and it's just like I have like about 500 more people to look through their requests on. It's getting through, but it's, you know, I'm getting stopped by the, you know, every little turn, but I'm going to keep it up because people need to be encouraged. And I'm not trying to steal anyone's man or be cute on the internet. I just want to, you know, touch people and just bring them to be able to live their best life, and you know, to understand that they are worth it and they are great, and you can do anything that you want to do, but you have to break down what people told you you were and who they told you you were. You have to live how you want to live. So it'll get out.
Yeah, you know, it's sad to say, but some people are just so immature that they have to find a way to stop what you're doing because they don't have anything going for themselves. You know, it's really sad. Like, you really have that much time on your hand to be trying to report somebody that's trying to actually do good, you know. But you won't stop that reality show foolishness that be on you on your page.
Or the fighting. Like,
yeah,
I see so many videos. Or let me tell you the newest thing. Guys in jail get phones, and then they invite all their friends into their jail room, and then they have like 1,000 views. Like, people are on there like, "Hey, you so cute," and they're just in jail.
In jail.
Yeah, we doing it. We in jail, and I'm just like, but dang, oh my goodness, how is that?
Wow. You know, everything's backwards now. What's wrong is right, and what's right is wrong. It's like,
exactly.
you know, you can't get a semblance for the things that hold integrity anymore.
Exactly. But I'm going to keep pushing.
Keep doing it.
I'm going to put this book out. I got a book that I'm trying to get out, too. I'm going to get it out. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to reach people.
Absolutely. And listen, Freedom Truth Radio is always going to be here to stand by you and help you promote. So if you ever need us, just say the word, because I'm about promoting positive information and information that's going to help people, especially when you're talking about thinking better. You know, I'm all about that. That's my whole message on this radio show.
Thinking better, living better, viewing yourself better, being better to each other.
Yes.
So that way reciprocity is gained and everyone wins when that happens. You know, instead of all of the tearing down, and a lot of times people tear down another person because of some insecurity they have within themselves, and
that's the reason why
they do it. Anger.
Absolutely.
And I'm just upset, so I don't want to see her do it. If we're able to stop all of that, then the world would be a much better place.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I want to get into a little bit of your practice and talk about your whole symmetrical self. What is that all about?
Well, your symmetrical self at the moment, I don't call it a practice now because I have to go through, since I'm working with a supervisor, I have to go through his practice in order to do psychological services, and that practice is Psychology for New Jersey, and his name is Dr. Mike Abrams. But I kept your symmetrical self as a movement because after I'm done with all the hours, I can go ahead back and do that. But your symmetrical self, I came up with that name. I was laying in bed and I was coming up with all these names, and you know, that one came about, and the reason it came about is because just like in science and in math, when something is symmetrical, it could be folded and it will be equal on both sides.
Yes.
Now, as we grow and progress and we go through our different situations and our different relationships and those things in life, we find that our inside and our outside are not equal. They are not symmetrical. So what I wanted to do was you have to find a way in order for your inside and your outside, or your outside and inside, to match in order to find homeostasis. That's something in science where, you know, everything is balanced. Homeostasis is everything is great. So if your outside is saying one thing but inside you're feeling something different, we have to find a way to bring those together. And when you're able to bring those together and they mirror each other and they're equal to each other, you're able to also progress in life and handle different situations that may come along, because the inside and the outside, your brain and your emotions or what have you, you're able to process it better, understand it better. It won't come at you and break you down because you have already built yourself up. So I try to make everything symmetrical so that you can move through this life balanced, so that when things come in, you can find the balance in those things and find how it can, affect your life in positive ways instead of just affecting your life in negative ways and knocking the balance off. So that's where I got that from.
Very good. That's a very good approach to looking at psychology, as well as trying to get someone to round themselves out, so to speak. Because that's one thing that we all lack, I think, and could use more of, and that's balance. You know, it's always something that, you know, it's too much of one thing and less of another. You know, we don't balance things out properly, and that could be with family, careers, relationships, even our gifts. We don't balance things out enough, and we put too much time into, especially I'll give for an example, people that have really deep gifts inside of them, and they find themselves being a very hard worker, and they put so much time into a job, but they never get to cultivate the gift that they have on the inside of them. And most of the time, people end up dying with that gift inside, but they were known as a good worker.
Exactly. That's a horrible thing, though, and that saddens me, because all of us have gifts, and all of us have things that we desire to do and desire to give and desire to be. And if we're not strong within ourselves to realize that, you know, it's not always going to be easy, but that is a life worth living, then we never let those gifts come out. Some of us get so bogged down in the fact that, you know, including myself, you know, I'm making all this money at this job and I'm doing this job, but I'm so depressed and I'm so unhappy, and, you know, I'm not living my full potential, but I'm scared to let this job go because it's a means to an end. It allows me to have money. It allows me to pay these bills. And we don't, you know, we're not so, you know, on ourselves to where we'll step out on faith and say that, you know, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm strong enough to do this. I got my own back. Sometimes you got to encourage yourself, you know, and we die with those gifts within us. And, you know, there's so many gifts and so many discoveries and so many inventions and so many beautiful things that are lying in a grave somewhere now because people died with them, you know, still locked inside.
Yeah, still locked inside.
And that's sad, and that hurts. And, you know, it's kind of like I can't be a hypocrite. I have to also say, even when the chips are down or I feel that I'm not getting through, you can't let it, you know, stifle you. There's a gift in you. There's a dream in you. And if you're able to get it out, who knows what you may ignite in someone else, and then what they may ignite in someone else. And then everybody is living better and doing better and loving better and looking better and giving out what was put in them as a seed. And a lot of times people think that when they're buried, you know, when it's dark, they're buried, but really you're being planted. You have to look at it as you're being planted, just like a seed. When the gifts come out, somebody on the outside looking in will say, oh my gosh, that's crazy destruction, that seed is being torn apart. But to the trained eye, know that seed is transforming, and what is inside that seed is coming out, and it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be strong, it's going to be big, and it's going to you know, show everyone that just because it may look like chaos on the outside, it's really transforming me.
Yes, that's great. That's amazing. So you get people to really see that, and it sounds like it's some very ignored subject matter that people just seem to look over, they don't pay attention to, and you seem to open up their eyes to it and say, well, just let's take a look at the other side of this, the part that you've been ignoring so long. What happens? Do you see like an immediate transformation process, or is it something you're ready to accept right away? Or are they open to beginning to see a new light when you start to bring this to their attention?
It varies. There have been people who have said, you know, just because you put it that way, I see it differently, and then they want to change. Then there are people who come and they say, well, I don't think I have a problem, but, you know, I'll listen.
Yeah, I
and then, those. You know, they'll want to fight, you know, tooth and nail. Yeah. And I will, you know, try to impart as much as I can, and I will try to tiptoe lightly and bring about the questions that will make them ponder. But it will only go as far as that person will allow it to go. And I can't push someone and say, you're going to be better and you're going to learn. But there have been times where people have stopped. They've come and they've listened, and that's not for me, and they've stopped. And then they've come back and they're like, well, you know, I was thinking, you know, you said, maybe I could, you know, and I just accept them in with open arms. I'm not going to say, oh, I told you, you crazy, you stupid. No, thank you for coming back. We'll act like that other stuff never happened. Let's just take it from where we are now. And then I've had people where it's a slow chipping away, but they stick with it because they're so used to living in the dysfunction, and they're so used to gravitating towards the dysfunction that becomes their norm. And when that becomes their norm, if you're trying to take them out of their, this isn't a word, but their comfortability, to, you know, make them uncomfortable, they want to hold on to that, even if it's, you know, detrimental to their lives or it's dysfunctional. So it's a slow chipping away, but, if you let them know we're doing this together, I'm going to hold your hand, you're going to be okay, we're going to take little baby steps. You don't have to move the mountain in one fell swoop. You can take little rocks, and by the time you look, the mountain will be on the other side, and all those little rocks would have moved. But, you have to take the little steps. And you have to sometimes be uncomfortable in order to figure out where you are meant to be comfortable. Because if the dysfunction was where you were meant to be and it was really making you comfortable inside and out, then you wouldn't be looking for a better way to live.
That's very true.
So, you have to take everyone where they are and try to, let them see not just their light and how wonderful they are, but also let them see there is a better way and to not be afraid. But you can't, just throw it on people, because then you're losing. You're losing the people, and that's not the goal.
Very good. Now, I'm going to relate this to some geometrical shapes. When you talk about the whole symmetry part, all I could think about is when I had geometry and taking different angles and looking at, like a perfect square has four 90-degree angles.
90-degree angles,
and,
yeah.
You have your triangle is, you have a 180-degree angles on the bottom and, probably a 45 on top. And sometimes I'm pretty sure you get some people with shapes like a rhombus or a trapezoid. They have some imperfect edges. How do you deal with maybe a person that seems to have it all together on one end, and then one end is the other end is just completely jacked up? And just,
you have to find connections. You have to find a connection with the so you say all together, and you have to find a connection with what's not so all together, so that everything, the inside and the outside, again, mirrors. People will never be perfect. Only perfect one is God.
Right.
We'll never be perfect. But, like I had a saying, I'll put it this way. A person that's coming into your life may not be perfect, but they're perfect for you. So in your eyes, they are perfect. So someone else's, life on the outside or life that they're living, may not look so perfect to me. But if it's causing them to be able to function and look at themselves differently and get through life and deal with their problems, and, then it is the perfect life for them. So I can't make anyone totally a square. I can't make them totally a square. We can get as close to a total square as we possibly can.
Right.
But if we strive to be totally perfect, that's going to wreck everything, because all you're going to be doing is trying to strive to be that square. Rhombuses are beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
They have a purpose. Squares have purposes as well, but everybody can't be a square. And if you look at that square, sometimes that square doesn't even want to be perfect either.
No, that's true.
Because it's hard to be that perfect all the time. So you just have to try to find the connections and try to find a way that, we're able to make it so that it's perfect for that person and their environment.
Because just as imperfect as the shapes are in a puzzle, they all fit somehow. Yeah. And we have to find our way around that with people, because there are some people that have some sharper edges than others. And they may not necessarily fit in that little space that is being offered to a square, and they might have that edge that sticks out like a trapezoid.
But there is somewhere for that trapezoid.
There's somewhere for that trapezoid. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Now, I notice you have a gift, which is very peculiar, and I like to talk about those kind of things because
I already knew you was getting ready to bring that up. I heard you say it before you said it. Just now, I was like, he's about to ask that.
He's about to ask that. And you have a intuitive gift that allows you to see into people's lives and to read into some things that they may have some questions about, or and the generic term might be psychic or whatever. I don't like that term because
I don't like that term.
I think your gift goes a lot deeper than that. You know, psychic is what's on the 900 number.
Yeah.
But a person that has a real gift of intuition and can really see into someone's life, the $5 a minute is not what ignites your gift.
No,
because
the gift was a scary thing.
Yeah.
It was so scary when I was little. I didn't understand why I would have these things called deja vu dreams, and then I would say to my mom, we already did this. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, Mommy, I'm doing my homework on the green piece of paper. You have the French fries over there and the blue Pathmark bag. You're getting ready to do that.
Wow.
And Chris, my brother, is getting ready to do that. And she's like, well, how did you know? I don't know.
You already visited that day.
And, and now I turned it off, and I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't like feeling like I lost a boyfriend, for instance, when I was younger. I'd never been to his house. I told him what his house looked like, where it sat, where he was sitting, what he had on, what hand the phone was in, the light that was on, where the light was. He said, are you looking at my window? I said, no, I just see it. He never called me again. So now it's to the point where I've accepted it, and I also get visits from people on the other side. One person that I read for, she came here, and she was very distraught. And she said she says, I have this family following me. And she said, they look like, I said, please don't tell me anything else. I said, I'm going to tell you what they look like. And I told her to a T. She said, how did you know? I said, and the lady's hair is up in a bunch. She said, yes. I said, and they have old-timey clothes like 1800s. She said, yes. And it's long. I said, and they have a little kid. It goes the father, the mother, and the little kid. And the little kid has on this dark little outfit, but the little kid is looking down. She said, how did you know? I said, because they're standing behind you right here in my house.
Wow.
And then, and I told her, I said, you need to go and research. I said, there's something with the year 18 something. She said, outside of my house on the cement, it says 1836. I said, you have to start with 1836. I said, what these people are following you around for is because you have to release them. Where you're living right now used to be something else, and I told her what it was. And then I said, then I read, and I said, but when you're home, I said, you sit in your room and you pull out this box or this case, and you hold your baby's clothes. I said, you sit there and you cry, and you hold your baby's clothes. She lost her one of her twin babies when she was 3 months. I said, but don't worry. I said, your baby is being held by a lady, and I described this lady, and I said, I keep hearing Aztec Maya, Aztec Maya, Aztec Maya. She said, what does the lady look like? So I explained it, and I said, your daughter has on this outfit. She said, that's what we buried her in. I said, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, but I keep hearing Aztec Maya. She said, no. Her name is Mayo. I said, oh, maybe that's why they kept screaming, Aztec Maya, Aztec Maya. I said, okay, well, Mayo has your baby, and she's holding her in her arms, and her outfit is flaring out. I said, your baby is fine. I said, and she said, thank you for giving her back to us. I said, and I'm coming across that I want cookies. What is cookies? I said, did she cook? She said, oh, she used to cook so well, and she used to make these something she made. I said, well, now I need cookies because she's giving me cookies, and I taste the cookies. And, and I told the lady, how you sit at home and you cry, you cannot do this.
Right.
I said, but the spirits are following you because what happened with the little kid is connected with how you feel about what happened with your child. But you have to do the research, and you have to let these people know that it is okay to cross over to the other side.
Wow.
And she said, I appreciate you telling me all of this. And I sent her on her way. But that was just one of the times.
That's an amazing gift.
Then I had people on Facebook say, well, why don't you read me?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
I read them, and they were like, how did you know that?
They didn't think you were serious.
They didn't think I was serious.
They thought you was that little psychic on the number.
I read them for free. I said, I'm going to read you for free. I said, who's this little girl who's standing up smiling at you? What do you mean? That's my granddaughter. Yeah, well, and I just was, yes.
Yeah.
So they were like, I didn't know you were real. Yeah, I'm real. But I don't let everyone know that until now because someone else told me. Because my grandfather came into a reading with someone that I know.
Wow.
And he said, you need to do the readings yourself. Because I was promoting everyone else doing readings. He said, you should read yourself.
Absolutely.
And so
that's an amazing gift.
And I read somebody yesterday. And, it's a gift.
Well, you know what? Listen, again, gifts will make room for you, room for great people. I just truly believe that not only should you continue in that gift, but that's a gift that needs to really be held very tightly and closely to you, because it has to be protected. Because sad to say, people will prostitute that gift, and I've seen them do it in church. And of course, this is not a gift that is probably embraced by the church, but it's real. And people have to understand that the spiritual world is more real than the physical world we sit and touch here now. And a lot of people don't recognize that, and so they'll immediately say, "Oh, she's into that witchcraft stuff." No, it has nothing to do with witchcraft. This is an actual spiritual gift. As a matter of fact, those of you Bible toters, read your Bible again and find out why the King Saul, went to the witch of Endor to bring up Samuel's spirit again. She had a gift, and she was able to tap into that. And guess what? Samuel had a message for him. So, don't be so quick to call everything the devil that you don't understand. People that are religious, I like to say, for lack of a better term, are quick to call things the devil because it's something they don't understand. And, there's so many spiritual gifts that the Creator gives that we may not be familiar with. And just because it's not your, pastor or your, church mother doing it, doesn't mean it's, not real. This is,
and I never asked for it. I never asked for it.
See, that's why it's a real gift.
Given to me when I was a little girl.
When you were a little girl.
And it would scare me. Like I still can't sleep in the dark. Like I can't sleep in the dark, and I didn't understand why. And I would see these floaties, and they would shake my bed when I was asleep, and I didn't like it. And then as I got older, I turned it off. I said, I don't want to know any of these things. But then I'd be able to walk past a room, and I would get cold.
Yeah.
Or a spirit would come through and need to give a message to somebody else, and my hands would get very cold and then very wet, like wringing wet.
Wow.
And then when the message would come through, I would cry because it feels very emotional when it comes through. And then as soon as they would leave, my hands would dry up quickly, and I wouldn't cry anymore. And that's what happens now. But I never asked for this gift, and I never was going to tell anybody. Only those closest to me knew that I could do this. And I'm still kind of weary about,
well, you know what?
even letting people know, because they look at you weird.
Just you have to only exercise it around people who are mature enough to understand. And I mean, sometimes you can't. It just comes at inopportune times. You be like, I'm just sitting here trying to drink my coffee. I don't feel like being bothered right now. But it comes, and you have to give a message, and that's I understand that. But to those who are just looking for entertainment, why don't you read me? Tell me what you see on me. That's the kind of stuff you know what I'm saying? People are just looking to try to see if you go and pick something out of, if you can tell them if their cat had on a red sweater or something like that.
And those are the people I don't
even
really
bother
with that.
No.
Like I'm not, well, what you see? Okay, well, I see that I got a lot of things I need to do, and you're coming off really nasty.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to see nothing.
Well, see, there are spiritual leeches too, because they just want to sit there and feed off of your energy. And see, you're the one who has to deal with the fact of being drained after you spill all your I know exactly. That's just
Sometimes
how
I have
it
to
is.
sleep for 3 days. Like I have to
Right.
sleep because it takes a lot out of you. Like it really, really does. And then there are times where there have been, spirits who have followed me around, like, and they wanted me to give a message. And you can ask anybody who has this gift. They will not leave you alone until you deliver it. So they're like, could you deliver the message? Could you deliver the message? And you keep hearing it, and you keep hearing it, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then finally, when you give the message, they're happy and they go away.
And you get a release.
Then you're like, you're fine. But if there's a message in your spirit, you got to give it. You got to give it, or it's going to bother you.
That's very true. Yeah. Plus, not only that, you have your daughter to protect, so you don't want that stuff lingering around.
Yes, yes. I sage the house. I pray a lot.
Sure.
And the thing about it is, I don't do it as I guess satanically or what have you. Like I do it for peace, or I do it.
Of course.
Sometimes there's times I don't even do it. Like there's just times I'll sit around here and I'll talk to the spirits. Like I will. And my daughter has the gift as well. When she was little, she was talking to her uncle who had passed, and I didn't know who this man was in the house, but she kept talking about Charles. And I was like, Charles? And she was too. She kept saying, you scare Sydney, Charles, you scare Sydney. And come to find out, I said, what does Charles look like? She described Charles, what Charles had on and everything. Called my mother-in-law. She said, that's my brother, and he used to play the drums. My daughter always wanted to play the drums. Ever since she came out the womb, she was like, I want to bang on something.
Wow.
And once we realized who it was, she stopped saying it.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
But I try to keep us protected. I try to,
Of course.
And again, I don't really do a lot of, the reading all, because I'm trying to, I guess, focus on other things, or I don't want anyone to, think that, they can just, it's something that I'm going to do all the time. And, it's really
that's right.
a gift. And I want to do it to help people. And there are going to be times where if someone says, I want you to read me, if their aura or their spirit is off, or if there are things that I'm not supposed to know, just because you have a gift doesn't mean you know everything. There are some times that I will not get a message. There are times where, certain things I know that a message is coming, but I'm not supposed to have that message to give to somebody, so it doesn't come through. And then there are other people who come with malice, and I feel that, and then I can't read them either.
No, that's right, because you have to protect your gift.
Yeah.
You have to protect your gift. It's the same thing with like prophecy, and I've experienced that myself, where spirit will give me a message, and sometimes it's not for that time, sometimes it is for that time, sometimes it's on you so heavy you just have to say it, but the Creator always gives you wisdom in how to operate, because it's not something to be played with. It's not for entertainment, and sometimes people, it's like for a joke. It's like, we'll bring her to the carnival to see who, what I'm saying?
Yeah, and see what she can do. And
exactly.
and I really get into it. Like the lady I just met with on Friday before my sickness came, she came over and I held her hand. And things were coming, and her aunt came through, and I was giving her these messages. And then after I let her hands go, she said, I felt this energy rise up through my arms, and it felt like a blue energy. And she said, you're very powerful. And that was my aunt, and she used to say all those things, and she, was my favorite, and she would come through. And sometimes when a message comes through, I have to say it in the mannerisms that they come through to me.
They come through.
So her aunt came through with these mannerisms, and I did these mannerisms. She was like, "Oh my goodness, that is her. That is definitely. Oh my gosh, that is her." I said, "That's how she's giving me the message." Like, girl, I said, "That's how she is."
Wow.
And I've never met her aunt a day in my life. I don't know her aunt.
Yeah, right.
But her aunt came through. So I wouldn't do it as a joke. It's a gift that I want to use in the way that God says to use it, to see fit to use it.
Well, I'm definitely going to make that a platform for you here, because next month maybe I think I have an open Sunday I want to do, where I don't know how convenient it is for you to come to the studio, and I know you have your child to take care of, but maybe we can do something where we're on Facebook Live, and then people can either message or call in, and you can take people like that.
Okay.
We'll figure something out.
I have to think about this. See that it makes me nervous.
Does it? Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, there are people who might try to take it for a joke and just like try to do this for their own giggles or something. But there are people who are really looking for answers, who are seeking, and they've been inundated with the emotion of the loss of that loved one, or they have questions, unanswered questions or something that they need closure with, and this would help.
Well, I think what I'm going to start doing this week, I said I was going to start small and just do email questions or inbox questions for like $15. Like if you have a question, then you can inbox me or whatever, and then we'll set it up, and then I'll answer the question. But those who know that when I do readings, if I was to just give you an answer to a question, it's going to be a lot. So, I mean, for 15, you'll probably get a whole lot.
Okay.
You know, if somebody comes through, you know, but it's easier when they come through when I'm in person or I see pictures or stuff like that. It's easier when it comes through. Like, I can look at a picture and I can tell you it could just be two people sitting there smiling. And to the outside, it just looks like, oh, they're smiling. But I get their backstory and I see certain things that they've done, and then I'll tell you, no, this is this and that is that, and they did this before. And, you know, people are like, how did you know that? It just came to me from the picture.
Right. Well, listen, that's great. I mean, if you end up setting that up, please send that to us, and we'll put it on our page. And then, like I said, we'll open up a Sunday night broadcast where you can do that, and just people can call in and see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I'll work my nerve up.
Thankfully, I have a pretty mature audience, so you don't have to worry about the looky-loos. Trying to call in,
I can't stand the looky-loos.
Yeah. Right.
But I'll do what I can.
Do you have a website where people can get a hold of you?
If you're on Facebook, you can go to my regular page, Simone and Smith Brown, or Dr. Simone of Your Symmetrical Self. Both of those pages are on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as Dr. Simone, Twitter as Dr. Simone1. You can also go to www.yoursymmetricalself.com or www.beaconoflightradio.com. I also have a radio show that I do on Sundays and Tuesdays at 7 o'clock.
Okay. That's good.
And what else? I probably have other things. I just can't remember. And look out for the book. It should be coming out hopefully by spring. It's called The Deconstruction and Reconstruction of You, where we break down all of the definitions and things and labels that people have put on you from, you know, your younger years up until adult years, and we break those down.
Wow.
And I help you to build yourself. I give you homework. I give you lessons. I help you to build yourself up and reconstruct yourself to be that strong individual that's always been within you, but you didn't know how to bring out. So look for that too.
Okay. I like that. I'm on the posting up your website right now, and I have a friend of mine that co-hosts with me sometime on my show. We did a couple of health broadcasts. Her name is Jerry Petito. And
I see. I'm looking at her message on the inbox. I'm
good. Yeah, I just
answer her.
I just sent her over to you. I said you all friend each other because I think you all would hit it off. She's very knowledgeable. She wrote a book on addiction. And so you guys could probably share some thoughts, especially with the psychology. And she, you know, because she really helps to target people on addiction, and she has her own personal testimony that she's been delivered from, and she's paying it forward. So I think you guys would definitely hit it off.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry.
Yeah, so it has definitely been a pleasure having you on, and this is not going to be the last time. I'm really grateful that you called in, and I hope you feel better, get over this
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
going
to probably have some NyQuil right now. That's a shot for the night.
I hear you.
And just go to sleep.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, this is not going to be the last time. I'm going to have you on again, and we'll talk about setting that whole thing up with the readings. So people can call in, and, you know, perhaps you could either do like Facebook Live, or we can do Skype or something like that. We'll figure it out. So people can actually kind of see your face, and you can take the phone calls even if you're not here in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or they can, if someone wants to do, I also do Skype if you can't meet in person. I do, you know, those, but it's not for psychological anything. It's just strictly for the gift to see who comes through and what comes through, because as you know, I'm working towards my license. Things have to be separate, you know.
Absolutely.
Separate, so.
Now, can they can they book the psychological sessions through your website, or is that?
They would have to go through my supervisor's website if they want to see me on a psychological basis. It would have to go through Psychology for New Jersey, Dr. Mike Abrams. It would have to go through that.
Okay.
But I'm able to, see people as a psychologist, a permit psychologist in the state of New Jersey.
So. Is that New Jersey?
But I'm not advertising. I'm not advertising. I'm just because you can't advertise either.
Oh no, then I won't post it up.
If you need to see
me,
you can go through that.
Okay. All right. That's good. And they can always hit you up on Facebook or Instagram or
Twitter. Always.
Yeah. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. It was great.
Well, you're going to be part of Freedom Truth Radio family, so look forward to having you on here a few more times.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye. All right. People, thank you for listening in, those of you that tuned in tonight, and that was Dr. Simone. We are going to have her on again. She's very gifted. She has a lot that she can offer and a lot that she can help people with. So definitely going to be a guest on the Freedom Truth Radio Show again. Next week, we are going to have a sort of open forum session where I'm going to be talking about killing some religious sacred cows. That's going to be a fun show. I'm probably going to have some people that's real mad at me. But as people know me and they know this radio show, I don't care. I'm looking to see how many enemies I can create on next week because I'm going to rip some stuff up. So get your Bibles out. And be prepared to go look up some scriptures because I'm going to give them to you. And I'm going to tell you some of the stuff of what it means. And I'm going to show you some of the symbolism. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that you've been taught to believe that are really not true. And we're going to have proof. So you can argue me down if you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, go read. Don't argue with me and don't have any information. Go look at some books. Go read. Go do some historical research. Go look at the book of scripture and find out for yourself why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay? You don't take my word for it. Do your own research and find out. But we're going to rip it up next week. Okay? Because I'm bringing out the can we get a whiteboard, Doc? Or like a flip chart or something? Because I'm bringing out the magic markers. I'm gonna do some diagrams and some teaching and all this kind of stuff. We're gonna rip it up next week. And so bring your pencils and your pads and your notebooks and your Bibles and let's take some notes. All right. So until next week, we'll see you then. What is next week? That is March 3rd, I think, 3rd or 4th. Next Sunday. Yeah, going into March already. Yeah, March 4th, 2018, 9:30, 9:40 will be on. So tune in next week. We're going to be ripping up those sacred cows of religion and look forward to having you on. Pass the show along. Tell somebody about it. Share and let them know to tune in to Freedom Truth Radio Show on Sunday nights at 9:40 p.m. Glad to have you. Thank you for listening. Good night.